Welcome to Connected Through Unplugged. I'm joined here with Grace Andrews and Ash Jones. So Grace, will you tell us a little bit about you and your current role at the Diary of the CEO?
Of course. So I head up content for Steven Barlett in terms of his personal brand, but also the Diary of a CEO, which is now Europe's biggest podcast, which is very exciting. I started out as a social media manager. I'm now kind of working solo, and now I have a team of 5. We distribute content across, I think it's 12 channels.
Wow.
It's like over 60 pieces of content a week. So we created this kind of like content machine that all stems really from the Diary of a CEO podcast. Yeah, that's kind of me.
Amazing. And Ash, will you tell us a little bit about you and your previous role at Social Chain and your current role at Great Influence?
So I was part of the founding team at Social Chain, and my role there was to help Steve with his personal brand at the start. And then I left there to set up Great Influence, and we essentially do more of the same, where it's like we work with business leaders, founders, CEOs, helping them to figure out the whole personal brand piece.
Over the past few years, social media has obviously changed a lot and is constantly changing. How has personal branding developed over this time, and how important do you think it is within this day and age?
When I left Social Chain and set up Great Influence, I was going out and having meetings with like founders, and I felt like I was having to tell them why it was a good idea.
Yeah.
And now the coin has flipped on that, and I think a lot of people are realizing the power that social media has in helping drive business opportunity for people. And also, like, you couple that with the rise of like LinkedIn as a platform, especially over the last 12 months. I feel like it's exploded in terms of creators and content and things like this, and you can see why there's a lot of interest in it now.
And I mean, I would credit almost every opportunity I've had since I started posting on LinkedIn down to building this personal brand. And where we work, we call personal branding more of like your digital reputation. It's much more easier to like fathom than this kind of jargonism. Personal branding, it kind of sounds a bit strange. Everything from sort of where I work now was achieved through having a digital portfolio to social proof and evidence what I was saying I could do, all the way through to sort of these speaking opportunities and everything in between. So from a personal level, it's the way it's evolved has allowed me to open doors I didn't know that were possible. But from Steven's point of view, we've really been able to, through kind of personal branding, digital reputation building, establish him as one of the leading figures in the industry, both in podcasting and entrepreneurship. I think the concept around it has really evolved. When I started, I literally hadn't heard of the words personal branding, and now it's all you hear people talking about. So it's definitely sort of come into the mainstream, I think.
You both having worked with Steven Bartlett, what would you say are the key defining factors to the success he's had, and how this personal branding has contributed to this?
When I look at Steve, there's almost like 3 phases that I think he's gone through. And when he was at Social Chain, like 2015 to 17, he was on this journey to gain like industry fame within like agency land, marketing, social media. And then after that, the next 3 years, it felt like that gave him the springboard to become like business and entrepreneurship fame and step out of that. And then the last 3 years and all the work that Grace and the team have been doing has been like mainstream. He's now broken into that level. I think that I was on that part, the first bit was my big thing. And it was like industry fame that he was after. And I remember when I left, the thing that I would always say to people in terms of the work that I'd done with him was like, he was named as eConsultancy's #1 most influential person in agency land in 2017. And you say that now, and it's almost like he's gone way past that. And it's interesting how he's developed over time, and I think each of them is an entirely different approach to the other. If you're after industry fame, and like take the word personal brand, what do we mean? Like for we have 12 clients at the minute. Some of them are after industry fame, some are after like business fame, some are in mainstream fame, yet we term them all under personal branding. So you're trying to give like advice, and it's like, for one person who's chasing industry fame, the advice needs to be different from the other, but we're blanketing it all under this one thing. And he used to say, I can't copy Justin Bieber to become famous, because only Justin Bieber can do Justin Bieber. You can't copy Steven Bartlett to become famous because only Steven Bartlett can do Steven Bartlett.
Carry on from that, that it's exactly that. The goal and the reason why has changed, which therefore means the content and what we're sharing has evolved and changed. And I just kind of see it as like this, almost like snaking. Like it's not the mission and the why and like who he is has stayed the same, but his reason for creating content and his reason for building reputation and building presence is evolving and changing. You know, he no longer needs to do the steps that, you know, the groundwork that Ash and the team put in to establish a name. We're now talking about how can he lead the conversations rather than like just entering them. So what does the content look like in order to build that up? And but also as kind of a leading figure in this weird personal branding world, what can we do that's consistently and continuously changing up compared to what everyone else is doing? So by the time, if everyone else has started posting, you know, talking head videos, which, you know, we started doing years ago, what do we now need to start doing because everyone else is already doing that? So we're just like always thinking we're going to lead the charge in this specific industry. How can we keep mixing it up? And that's kind of front of mind for us all the time.
Grace, obviously today you did a talk on scaling the diverse CEO, and how does your day-to-day role of head of content contribute to this?
Great question. I mean, I'm in all the conversations from sort of the thumbnail decisions all the way through to, are we putting this trailer on TikTok who's actually, is it going to damage our brand more than it's going to build us up? And thinking about it from a platform first perspective, not necessarily from always a diary of a CEO perspective, if that makes sense. So we have platform reputations. We are on TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, now on Snap, on all these different platforms. And it's kind of my responsibility to ensure that we maintain the reputation and the goals we're striving for on those individual platforms. And how the diary of a CEO seeds into that and like feeds into that isn't necessarily to do a slapdash strategy and just share the content across all platforms. But it's making sure that we're tailoring everything we do and tailoring our approach platform by platform. And that's something I'm thinking a lot about at the moment, especially with a growing team who are managing different channels, coordinating that approach so that yes, we kind of maintain the same presence and the same tone of voice, but it's tailored individually with like a TikTok first strategy, and LinkedIn first strategy, and Instagram first strategy. And I think that's something, not that that's necessarily we were getting wrong before, but we didn't have the capacity to tailor and personalize. So we're making sure that I'm making sure that I'm kind of putting my foot down and saying, no, we're not going to kind of copy and paste that formula onto everything we're doing, which when you don't have the resource, you don't have the capacity is kind of the only way you can do it. But now we've got the resource and capacity, we're looking at how we can really, really tailor the content, tailor the marketing, tailor the social media, all of this stuff to fit the specific audiences we're going for. And I think that's kind of where my role is really overlapping right now with like scaling both the social media platforms and the podcast in a really like tailored way.
Ash, today you did a talk on building your personal brand to become a getaway drug for your business. So what are the top 3 mistakes you see businesses and individuals make around personal branding?
Trying to copy Steve. No, I think there's a way to do LinkedIn right now that you can figure out quite quickly. And I think a lot of people can look at the platform and in, you know, a couple of days of consuming things, they can have an idea of how to grow there. And I think that's like the worst way to approach it. I think LinkedIn, to be honest, it gets in the way sometimes, especially when it comes to business. It's like, because there's something happening there that's distracting people from how to actually use the platform. I think it's about like, the first thing is people just think straight away like, oh, what's a good piece of content? What will get me, I don't know, what will take me from 0 to 50 likes? Like what will get that? Whereas it's like, that shouldn't be the question they're asking themselves. Instead, it's like, who am I trying to establish myself as at this moment in time that's reflective of where I'm at? Spoke about the journey before of like, where are you? You chasing industry fame, business fame, mainstream fame? Like, what is it? And where am I in that ladder? So asking that question and going, right, okay, well, if I'm here, how do I get to here? And who am I trying to be that will take me to there? And what are the opportunities that I'm looking to get from being there? And those 3 questions inform what the content should be like. I've seen a lot of the time where I spoke with someone yesterday and he did a lot of LinkedIn and then he said he turned it off and he didn't miss it. And I was like, it speaks to a problem that you had. Like he admitted that he had the wrong strategy. He was just going after the likes and things like that. So when he turned it off, the business didn't feel any impact. And I think if you do these things really, really well, ask yourself the right questions in the first place, your strategy kind of takes care of itself. And then the opportunity that you get out of doing them is very clear and tangible, and you feel it if you turn it off.
I love that. doing LinkedIn. Like that is literally how it feels a lot of the time when
Yeah.
you see all these kind of up and coming LinkedIn influencers or whatever you want to call them. They are simply doing LinkedIn. I don't think they have a clue why they're doing it or what they're doing it for or what's on the other side other than likes and numbers.
Yeah.
And like we're seeing all these like a fleeting growth, like a growth of all these fleeting influencers who are literally coming and going overnight because they're posting for no reason other than to post.
Right.
And I think, as to like speaking to what Ash said, like you must know why you're there and what your intention is with the content. Your goal can't simply be to post.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people are getting confused.
LinkedIn is different than like TikTok, right? TikTok, my thing is just a post. It's just having a bit of fun at first. It's just a post. LinkedIn is a career and business lever in some way, shape, or form. And if it's not driving something on that, then there's the thing is, you've also got like people coming in as influencers and creators have come into the platform now. So you can start as a creator where you're not looking to really create a business or career opportunity, and then all of a sudden you're presented with them because you've done really well as a creator. And people are looking at them and going, if I do the same thing. It's confusing because we see it in the same way as every other social media platform, whereas there's some fundamental underlying thing about it that means that it should be approached differently than the others, I think.
Thank you so much, Grace and Ash. Really appreciate it. And make sure you stay tuned for next time.